my channel. My name is Maggie Green and I do an art video every Monday. Yes, I missed an entire month of videos, I know. It was because I was too lazy to go out and get a camera charger. So now I have a camera charger and I'm making videos again. So I'm really sorry for the wait, guys. So today we're gonna talk about how to hang an art show and get involved in your local art community. I think this is super important for young emerging artists and any artist who is trying to gain a following online or in the global art scene. I think it's very important to get involved in your local community first, because that's how those connections are made. And you'll make connections that will lead to more followers on Instagram, and you'll also make more connections that will lead to opportunities. Maybe commissions, maybe galleries, who knows? Whatever you're looking for, you can find if you start to make those personal connections with people in your local community. So today, I am hanging an art show at the Flower Room in Dover, New Hampshire. And the Flower Room is a local flower boutique, florist shop. And so I have a bunch of flower paintings that I did last year that are, I think, perfect for their location. I'm gonna kind of share with you how to hang them at the right height, how to make sure that the experience of being in the space is fluid and the best possible experience for somebody to want to buy that artwork. It's really important that if you have additional materials such as cards or stickers or prints, that you include those in any art show that you do. People are much more likely to want to buy something in person when they can touch it and look at it really closely than if you were, for instance, to say, well, you can buy these things on Etsy. That's an extra step, multiple steps that that person needs to take to be interested enough to go into your shop, purchase, whatever, when you could just provide that to them at the art show that they attend. If you do have an Etsy and you are making sales in these art shows, it's a great idea to log those sales with Etsy so that your number goes up on Etsy, and that'll make you much more easily found in the search results and get future sales. When you're looking around for local art show opportunities, little restaurants, boutiques, and shops are a great venue for you to start to show your art to your local community. And it's also usually commission free, which is super important because, as you may or may not know, art galleries typically charge 50% commission on every sale. They do deserve it. They do a lot of sales work for you. They do additional PR and marketing for you. They really make it easy for the artist. You just drop your work off and they do all the legwork to get that work sold. But in a boutique or a shop or a restaurant, nobody is doing that for you. Nobody is advertising that you've got art up in that store. Nobody is walking around the room saying, oh, do you like this piece? Would you like a print? Or what kind of artwork do you like? What kind of space are you thinking of putting this art in? No one is doing that work for you. And that's why shops and boutiques and restaurants they're a good place to show your work. They're not necessarily a viable way to continuously sell your work. You just can't expect to sell a lot of work without a salesperson. Now, I will say that a few years ago, I worked at a restaurant and I had a show there that I put up, and it was a bunch of my pen and ink drawings, and the whole place was full of my pen and ink drawings, and I was working there. And I sold all my work off the wall because I was there and I was my own salesperson, and people would come to the register and ask questions about it, and people would be talking about it, and I could be there and say, like, oh, that's my work. Do you have any questions about it? And, like, you know, thank you for looking at my work, and, you know, whatever. And so if you are able to be there in some kind of way, then you really increase your chances for sales. At the Flower Room, my main business goal of having work up there is having a sign on the wall that says follow my Instagram, and having all my work there, hopefully get people talking. I have a few stickers. And then I'll be giving those stickers out for free because they say follow Maggie Green Art on Instagram. My main goal is just to get the word out that I'm a local artist. And I want people to start to get interest in me and start to hear my name. And hopefully the people who go to the Flower Room are the people that want to follow my work and the people who want to buy my work. A lot of art shows are trial and error, and you will find that some restaurants, shops, or boutiques are right for your market, and some just don't yield you any results. It could be that the Flower Room is not in my demographic, and that the people who go there aren't my people. But you could always try another place. It's free to set up the show. It's relatively low effort to find one of these shows because a lot of boutiques and shops just want the interest of having art on the wall. So they're willing to just let you come on in for the month or whatever and have your art up. And they don't really fuss about it. So it's an easy way for you to basically have a free billboard in town with your name on it. So before we head out to the Flower Room to set this show up, I have already framed and matted a lot of my work. So I'll just show you what I've done. So here's one of my pieces, and what I chose to do for this show is white frames with white mats. So when you have oil or acrylic paintings on canvas, then you can get away with not framing your work when you show it in a boutique or a shop. But if you have watercolor paintings, you absolutely have to frame it. Any work on paper, you have to frame it. And I got these frames at Michael's. They're relatively low cost. Some of my pieces are actually larger than a standard size, or they're like slightly different than a standard size. And so if you get a mat, then you can, this painting is actually probably this shape, but it's all of that extra area is hidden by the mat. So if somebody buys this, then they have a choice that they could just keep this same frame or they could get it framed differently. It really makes no difference to me as the artist. I think this is also a nice composition, but that buyer has the opportunity to reshape it, and also you don't have to go out and get a custom frame for your awkward size paintings. So on the backs of standard frames, they usually have these doodads that you can use to hang it. Sometimes they're perfectly centered on the back and sometimes they're not. So you may find that if you were to hang this on a nail, that it could be crooked, or not. It's pretty secure, I suppose, if you have a good hanger. If you have one of those picture hangers that have like an angled notch in them. But more often than not, the professional way to set up hardware on the back of your painting is to have a loop here, and a wire that goes across. And that way you can really control exactly how level your painting is on the wall. It'll stay there. It's very secure. So I'm gonna wait until I get on site because I know that there are hangers already on the wall, and I know that they're the correct picture hanger types. So I'm gonna just see how it goes with those before I add extra hardware onto these frames. So I have two pieces in the show that are this size, and I have 4 or 5 pieces that are 11 by 14, and I have one piece that's like 5 by 7. And I've already kind of planned generally how I want to set these up in the space, but when I'm there, they have a lot of hangers already on the wall, and so I'm just gonna kind of see what makes the most sense when I'm actually in the space and hanging work. It's a good idea to have a plan already brewing in your mind before you go into the space. Maybe take some pictures of the space before you go in, just so that you have an idea of the strategy of the experience. You basically want the first picture somebody sees when they walk into the space to grab their attention. So when I walk into the space again today, I'm going to see, where does my eye naturally go? Like, what's right in front of me? Or if I'm walking down the street, what would catch my eye in the window? What walls are the best viewpoints for these? So I want my best painting to grab their attention, and I also want my Instagram sign to be right on that prominent wall so that their attention is taken to the next step in the process of following me, which is what I want. Okay, so we're gonna head off to the Flower Room and get this thing hung up. Hey, so I'm here at the flower room and I'm starting to get set up. I've been in this space before, so I had a kind of an idea of where I was gonna start to put things, but I've just gone around the store and started to lay out where I'm hanging things. So you can see I've just put them along the floor there. I've tried to put similar colored pieces next to each other and tried to balance the space, making sure that I think my best paintings are in certain locations and paintings that work together are always near each other. Along this ceiling area here, this is where I'll be putting the Instagram sign and a painting right next to it, so that's nice and central. Generally when you go to hang your show, you want to bring some measuring tape, and I like these Park Lane double-sided foam stickers. They help to hang the signs for each of your art pieces with the name, the medium, and the prices. Generally, I'm going to hang each piece about 65 inches centered on the wall. There are some nails already in the wall, so I'll be removing those to hang these so that they are all centered along a 65-inch line throughout the store, with some exceptions. This area here, there's some things that might make me want to hang them a little bit higher than 65, so you'll have to just pay attention to the site and what might be in the way for your 65 inches. So without further ado, I'll just get to hanging these pieces. Okay, so the show is hung up in the flower room. As you can see, there's a lot of space between each piece. That's really important to make sure that each piece gets the attention that it deserves. Most pieces were hung with their centers at 65 inches, but these ones were hung about 5 to 6 inches higher just because of this shelf. And that one, of course, was kind of hung just to be visible above these shelves. So, come by the flower room and see the show anytime from now until the end of April. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks, bye.